Hey y'all, uh, my name's Dog, and recently I decided to join an amateur league in Rocket League. The name of the league was Skyward Series, and I heard about this league through some friends in a Discord server I was at. So, since I graduated high school and I had a free summer, I wanted to try it out. Initially, my plan going into it was to advertise myself, and they're looking for team channels and get picked up, and that didn't work out. And after not getting any offers from these random people to play in the league, I hit up some friends I met literally like a few months beforehand and formed a team. And this was quite possibly one of the best decisions I could have made for the team, just personal reasons. I felt like we had a lot of growth because of playing the league and getting a coach who volunteered to help us out. And yeah, it was amazing and fun to play in, but no matter how much fun I had playing the league, I will never, ever go back to playing in Skyward Series. You see, Skyward Series has a major issue with the moderation team. For one, I felt unwelcome the whole time I was playing the league. Skyward Series feels very unwelcome to newcomers in general, and especially those not on the esports orgs in Skyward Series. For two, I felt like there was a lot of favoritism for these players on any of the esports orgs, and there was just a general witch hunt for any non-associated players or newcomers in the scene. And three, the mod team also includes several people who don't know what they're doing at all. The mod team several times lied to my team, lied to me as a manager, and made extremely confusing decisions that overall hurt my team and I believe the league as well. For further proof of this, one of the mods that did deal with the banning of our teammate or the suspension of our teammate did get fired by the end of the season as well. I'm really confused how someone who's so bad at their job gets accepted into the mod team in the first place and then makes it through the whole season. But to show y'all where issues began, I need to go to our preseason. Our sign-up process did not go smoothly at all when first trying to join Skyward Series. Skyward Series has several great rules to stop people from ruining the league, to catch like sandbaggers and cheaters, and there's several requirements a player has to meet if they want to sign up and start a team. One rule they have is that all players on a team must provide their rank tracker and any alt account trackers as well. This rule is just the standard for any amateur league or any video game league in general. Providing a tracker helps the mods find any potential players who could ruin the league. People could sandbag their rank to get into the league. By providing the tracker, the mod team could essentially see a player's account age and how many games a player has played in each rank season in every game mode. So if someone was a grand champ, for example, and provided an alt that was C2, a mod could see their C2 alt had very few games played on it or fluctuate a bit, and thus not allowed into the league. The second rule they had is that players who wanted to join the league but had a peak rank above the league they should play in, they could play in the league below them. So, for example, let's say someone wanted to play in their league for Champ 1 and 2, but had a few games where they reached Champ 3. This was no problem. A player could peak into C3 for up to 7 days and would still be eligible to play in the C2 league, and anything after 7 days was a no-go though. Honestly, this was fair because some players aren't as good as their peaks. Some players could get carried by their friends to a rank and then lose it immediately. Then if they had to play in their peak rank, it would put them in position to fail and it would just hurt the league overall as well. The third rule they had was all players must have at least 6 months on their account. This means you had to play matches on your account consistently 6 months before the season started. This stopped players from making accounts beforehand, hitting C2, and then submitting their tracker when they were grand champs or whatever it could be. I believe all three of these rules were great and fair, and one of them would even be used against us when signing up, against my teammate Platt, who bought a PC in March and started playing Rocket League 4 months before the sign-up period. The issue was 3 years back, Platt played on PlayStation, the console broke, and then he stopped playing for 3 years. And then in March, Platt bought a whole PC, started playing again, and through the gameplay, I thought it'd be fair for Platt to join, and I figured we'd be able to squeeze Platt by if he just showed him the gameplay, even if his tracker was a little off. But Platt didn't get through because of his gameplay. Platt got through because our 4-man roster had an EU player, and without Platt, we'd have to schedule times with 2 NA players and an EU player. It's kind of confusing, but I guess it's fair. And this would also be the last time we had a good experience with the moderators. During the preseason, our team started scrimmaging other teams, and our first ever scrim was against the owner's team, which was an awesome coincidence. They were also streaming the scrim, so after blasting their team to the Shadow Realm, we watched the VOD, and one of their players on the team was a kid named Typhoon. I knew Typhoon a little bit before the league. I've talked to him and met him in other servers beforehand. I thought it was nice. But the stream was playing their comms, and after hearing their comms, I was completely proven wrong. He made several awful comments against my team. He said Nikolai, Nick for short, should be investigated, and he was also going to message my teammate Platt to kill himself. Our team watched the VOD, we laughed and agreed that this teammate on the owner's team, Sleepless, was ruining the team's mental. And we were also amazed that someone so toxic could be on the owner's team. What was even worse though was the next day, after seeing all the toxic crap he had said, he was made a mod. How could someone this unprofessional and this toxic be allowed on the mod team? We assumed that because he was on the owner's team, he was added to the moderation team. And also, he was really good at spreadsheets, and the league depended on spreadsheets to report and show stats. So I thought maybe he was just on there to fix spreadsheets. But it turns out later that Typhoon played a role into trying to get our whole team banned. So once Typhoon became a mod, he did some digging on our trackers and accounts and found this montage by Typo.
Explain yourself what you mean when you say half-caste. I'm listening to you with the keen half of my ear. And when I sleep at night, I close half an eye.
This Heatseeker montage nearly got a whole team banned for 2 seasons. What's crazy though is how we got unbanned. Tybo, our EU teammate, would repeal this ban to a different mod. I think the mod Typo talked to was Bezo or Bozo, going off the screenshots, and he agreed that it was ridiculous that we were getting banned for a Heatseeker montage, and even said the clips looked like a champ one, which was our league's level. So after talking to several mods and explaining himself, Typo would get ourselves unbanned and we could play in the league again. I want to just state for the fact that Typhoon going out and doing this was completely toxic and dishonorable. This is just a mod abusing his powers to push for a ban because he didn't like some team, and Typhoon was just scared to play us, or he just didn't want to join the league, and this is just another example of outsiders being unacceptable into this Skyward Series League. There's also one more mod who heavily pushed for the ban, and that mod's name was Maple. I can't say much about Maple yet, but by the end of the season, this mod would be banned for just being awful at their job. So, after scrambling our way through the offseason, we made it to week 1. And immediately after winning our first twos match, we had a ticket open up on us. Striker Mallards reported Nick for smurfing, and this was taken very seriously, and the initial verdict was that Nick couldn't be on our team. I have no idea if the mods watched any of the gameplay. I hope they did, but they only brought up his tracker. They say the amount of times he hit Champ 3 is suspicious. And another funny thing is that Striker Malwards were complaining about not being on the preseason power rankings, and then we went out and swept them 3-0. I think that's just completely hilarious. First of all, why are you bringing up his tracker now? And how come it wasn't suspicious that he hit C3 when we signed up during the preseason? And if it was suspicious, why wasn't I told right away that it was suspicious? that Nick had hit C3 a few times before joining this Ametuer League. The league rules, Nick was completely eligible to play, so it didn't really make any sense why he wasn't eligible now. It feels like the mods withhold information against any players to have it used against you and to just get what they want. And this made sense too, because every ticket open up on us was the owner of Striker Esports, aka Papa Outlaw, and I'll probably refer to him as Outlaw for short for the rest of this video. Outlaw would eventually get Nicole suspended from challengers, but he could still play in All-Stars, and then also he would eventually ban Nick for cracking a joke he didn't like. Initially, Outlaw said he had nothing to do with the suspension, but we later learned in a VC with Flipper or Slepless, I can't quite remember who it was, that Outlaw did play a role and voted to ban Nick from the league. And yet again, this is the moderation team withholding information from us to make them seem better. Secondly, what was crazy was that the owner of the esports team that we beat, and we beat several of his teams later in the season, was dealing with us after one of his teams had reported us. Why is someone who owns a team trying to handle a ticket about his team against someone who just played his team? That makes no sense. I don't think anyone who owns an quote-unquote esports org, it's more of a club, should handle any tickets in this league or even be a moderator. But I just don't get why he was allowed on. This is just asking for someone to abuse power, and Outlaw abused his power to give his teams an advantage in this league and to advertise his quote-unquote esports org. It felt like he was just out to get us and just out to get any team unsigned so his league and his teams could perform the best. After week 1, it became a weekly occurrence to have a ticket open up on us about Nick on our team saying he was smurfing, and the mod team would just teeter-totter saying he's a smurf, we're gonna ban him to, oh, it's alright, if we get in a report we'll have to take action. And finally in week 4, Nick would get suspended from the league. And from the messages, it seems like the mods finally watched some of his gameplay. I don't know why it took so long to look at the gameplay and say that, hey, this player shouldn't be in the league. But I don't know, it's whatever. The mods finally said that this was irreversible and that we would be granted a free roster move. And Nick got banned because Outlaw didn't like a joke he made. Outlaw and I were joking before the ticket, so I don't know why Nick's joke was not acceptable if we were joking before. And it just seemed like Nick was out to, or I guess Outlaw was out to get Nick, just because we beaten some of his teams. After this ticket, the season went normal. We found replacements and no longer had smurfing reports against us. It was nice. It was relieving to not have a ticket open up on us every week. We were scared to post any clips because it was clear it'd be used against us, and we were just scared to kind of talk about results in general because it'd be used against us. It just felt like anything we said, anything we did in the game or in the server would be used against us. And I'm not concerned about how our team results ended up in the season, but what followed after the season and after Nick's ban is just complete crap. During the end of the season and after the season was over, we learned just how uncoordinated the mod team was. We DM'd some of the mods trackers to see what they say was us or not, and also the mods would eventually give us screenshots from the mod chat, and talking to the owner, several mods in the VC would tell us a lot about the team in general. The mod team is awfully unbalanced and with uncoordinated individuals. One of the worst ones on the mod team went by the tag Maple, and by the end of the season they were removed for being just off at their job. Maple flagged our teammate Nick, not because of gameplay, but because of his threes tracker. Because of one ranked game mode. Maple thought Nick was sandbagging because he wasn't playing ranked threes. Nick's twos tracker has over 1,000 games per season. Over 1,000 games per season, and it's suspicious because he wasn't playing ranked threes. That the issue was that he wasn't grinding ranked threes. In the politest way possible, This person is just stupid. Just a complete fucking dumbass. And is very unfit for the job. And to think someone favored one game mode over the other means sandbagging. I'll admit, Nick playing over 1,002 games per season and not hitting C3 or above is suspicious. But Maple's issue was that he wasn't playing ranked 3s. What? Players are gonna favor ranked 2s because that's what the pros play. There are not many pros who play ranked 3s past the SSL rank. The majority of RLCS level players play ranked 3s, get SSL, and then go to ranked 2s. Majority of pro players will grind ranked 2s. Ranked 3s is not worth solo queuing at all if you want to improve. However, this went over Maple's head like a goddamn spaceship. I can't imagine what else Maple was responsible for because they were just off at their job. I hope the only thing they were responsible for was just removing Nick off our team. They also pushed for Typo to get banned. So they were involved in a lot more. They pushed for a Typo to get banned when they found his Heatseeker montage. And if this doesn't scream incapable, I don't know what else does. Maple must have never watched Rocket League in their life, and they're on this mod team. And you can see from the screenshots from Maple reporting Nick that Outlaw takes enjoyment in banning Nick. That is amazing. That's so fair. There's no favoritism at all with Outlaw being an owner of an esports org on the moderation team of this league. And Outlaw made the issue for banning Nick was because he was sandbagging. There was no sandbagging. First of all, Nick never sandbagged a single 2s ranked match in his life. We spent so much time getting coached and listening to Nick rant about his teammates in a VC call. Nick just generally wanted out of C2, and eventually that would happen. Nick never wanted to sandbag in his life. He never sandbagged at all. In fact, what's messed up is that Outlaw knew there was nothing wrong with Nick's tracker, but he was beating all of his teams on his esports org, so he had to be removed. I just want to show this one bit of evidence too, to show how uncoordinated the mod team is. We sent trackers of our players and 2 other challenger players to the 2 highest ranked mods in the league. On the Rocket League, I think both of them were SSL. I know at least one of them was SSL, and they both agreed that Nick's tracker wasn't sus. That's incredible. These 2 moderators agree that Nick's tracker wasn't sus, but here's Outlaw over here saying he's sandbagging. There's so much more I want to talk about with this league, but I can't because it'd just be too long. This is just scratching the surface of the crap I dealt with as a manager and a player in the league. Like, Slepless, aka the owner, saying that if Nick is a win requirement, we shouldn't have him. So in general, that means if someone is your best player, they should not be on your team. So any team who has a really good player shouldn't have him on the team. Makes sense. We looked at Outlaw's tracker, and his tracker is just full of peaks and valleys, and it shows that he's just being backpacked by whatever players he could find on his esports org. And Blue Sabres, who also reported Nick, he probably doesn't know what Smurfer sandbaggers are too, like Outlaw believes he does. And in general, there's a lot of repulsive comments made in the chat by mods that I just don't want to show. Just absolute acts of terrorism and just slurs. I just don't want to show it. It's just awful. The moderation team has heavy favoritism. They break the rules constantly and then they'll get banned for it. People generally acknowledge like, oh, you can't get banned because you're on the moderation team. That was shown several times, even the Clips channel. And also the co-owner and co-founder retired mid-season. Nice. This just says that there was so much crap behind the scenes that it wasn't worth it for this co-founder. And he wanted to leave the league just because it strayed away from its main goal. Because of this favoritism to the mod team and abuse of the rules and power, I will never ever participate in Skyward Series again. Unless it's fixed. I don't believe it'll ever be fixed. I believe that the mod team, especially people like Outlaw, will abuse his power for his own gain. and that the system they have in place to pick mods and I guess Smurf scouters to say it as is just not that good. They don't understand how to find good moderators to play this league. It needs a complete rework. I think that the mod team needs to have like a little survey, and it needs to have people watch like some videos and guess their rank. It doesn't include that. From what I know, it just includes like a vote from the people in the series. I'd like to end this by saying, don't harass these people. Don't go out of your way and harass these people. I would rather advise that if you know someone who knows how to moderate a Rocket League, would just get sent their way so they have some help. There's a lot of people who play in this league, and I think it'd be unfair to cancel this league. I think it'd be fair to replace the moderators in this team so we keep running. So to repeat that, don't harass these people. Help improve the league so it's actually not full of these people trying to ruin it with their own gain. And just one last note, there was a challenger team in our league that we played in. They're like Swordfish or something. Their accounts were made in January. The league started in June. And when the league started, they peaked into C3. And they didn't lose a single game the whole league. And then they made playoffs. And they dropped out of playoffs. That's awesome. So a team made alt accounts, got into the league, didn't lose a single series in a league, and then quit out of playoffs so they wouldn't get banned for suspicion. Anyways, I'd like to end this off by saying, please, Skyward Series, find better moderators, create a better application process, apply the rules of the players to the mods, and if you're a complete stranger watching this, if you know someone who knows Rocket League and can tell ranks apart, send them to Skyward Series to replace the current rank mods. My name is Brewer Dog, and this has been my complete Skyward Series experience.